What's up everybody, and thank you for joining me for another video. My name is Whack4863, but you can call me Whack. In today's video, I'm going to give you my tips to starting out in Valheim. Now, one of the things that I see a lot of people doing is running away from the initial spawn point, and you actually kind of want to stick to that area, at least early on in game. The nice thing about the initial spawn point on most of the worlds that I've seen is that there is water nearby, and as you start out in the game, you want to get a lot of flint, and the flint is near the water. The other thing that's near the water are the neck creatures, and those particular creatures give you the neck tails, which is one of the better foods. So don't run away from the initial spawn point right away. Look around and see if there's some water nearby where you can get not only the neck tails from the different neck creatures, but you can also pick up a lot of flint. This is going to speed your progression from the stone tools to the flint tools a lot faster if you just hang out in this area for a little while. And in a few of my gameplays where I've been starting out and just testing different things, I've been able to totally skip the stone axe and go directly to the flint axe. Now, if you're new here, I'd encourage you to click that subscribe button, click that bell so you get notified when I upload another tip, trick, or video game guide. The other thing that you should do early game and really throughout the game is use your torch as a weapon. So if you only equip the torch, you can use it like a club, and it actually levels like a club. It also lights the enemy on fire, which does damage over time. And this is actually really good even once you get to the Black Forest and you start fighting some of the skeletons. Using that torch in those interactions is going to give you a leg up. You do want to make sure that you only equip the torch. If you equip the torch and something else, you actually move the torch into your offhand and you will not use it as a weapon. So you only want to equip the torch if you want to hit things with it. Additionally, if you're low on health or you're worried about the engagement, equipping the torch will actually make many of the enemies run away from you. And that'll give you vital seconds in some of the engagements to regenerate some stamina or some health. Additionally, if you're fighting the Greylings, they actually drop the resin that you need to make a torch, and most of the time they also drop wood. So when you use up a torch, if you're fighting the Greylings, they will actually give you the materials that you need to make another torch. My next tip is about getting wood easy. Now, it takes a little bit to get to this point, but it's not too bad. So what you want to do is craft a repair hammer or a building hammer and then a workbench. So I think right around a total of about 12 wood and a couple of stones, it gets you to the point where you can make these items. And yes, you can just punch the little trees in order to get wood, and we should have enough to build this workbench now. So what you want to do is just have the 10 wood in your inventory, and you can do this throughout the entire game. But what you're going to do is go up to these old structures and place a workbench down. Now, when you do that, the old structures are actually interactable. So instead of going up and chopping them up with an axe, what you can actually do is just go up and use the middle mouse button in order to demolish all of the older structures. You can also use this to repair old structures as well. And as you can see during the destruction process, I'm actually getting some wood that isn't available in this area. I've actually picked up core wood. And then when you destroy the workbench, you actually get the same amount of wood back from that workbench that you used to make it. So you can see I have 26 wood and 6 core wood in my inventory just from dismantling that very tiny place. Additionally, like I said, you can actually build on or repair existing structures. So if you find something that you like and you want to set up shop in there, you can do that very quickly. You don't have to make an outbuilding or anything like that for your workbench. You could just pick an existing place and fix it up a little bit in order to get you started. Now, this does take stamina in order to do this, but it is still much faster than actually chopping down trees for all of this wood. And you can destroy absolutely everything all the way down to the chests. Make sure you loot the chests first to get the goodies out of there. And then if there's beehives in that building as well, you don't actually have to destroy the beehive. What you can do is destroy everything supporting the beehive, and the beehive will fall down, be destroyed, but also be lootable as well. My next tip is for those of you that are shutterbugs out there. Should you want to turn the UI off, it's very simple. All you have to do is press Control and F3 at the same time or in conjunction with each other, and your UI will be turned off. Then if you want to turn it back on, it's Control and F3 again. Now you do crouch when you press Control, so if you want a standing screenshot, you'll just need to press Control again in order to stand back up. Another reason to stay close to the water is, again, to get flint, because a lot of the upgraded things that you need for your workstation require flint, like the chopping block that I'm showing you on the screen now. And this needs to be placed within proximity of your workbench. The other one is the tanning station. That also requires flint. But as you can see, we have a level 2 workbench, and we're now able to do upgrades on some of our items. For those of you that have been around for a while, you know I love games that have a stealth component in them, and Valheim actually has a stealth component. Something that you can do, though, is kind of cheese the leveling for sneaking. So as long as you're crouched and sneaking and using stamina in the area of mobs, so it doesn't really matter what you're around. It can be deer, it could be boars and necks like I am now, but as long as you are using your stamina while they're in the vicinity, then you are adding levels to your sneaking ability or to your stealth ability. So you actually don't have to even try to get up to kill them like I'm going to now, but if you want to increase your sneaking ability, what you need to do is just be in the vicinity and stay hidden and just use your stamina. Let's talk a little bit about fireplaces. So a fireplace or a fire pit has to go on the ground. Now, you can do this in your house, and as you can see, you can actually place multiple cooking stations above it. So if you want to cook a lot of food at the same time, you can place multiple cooking stations and fill all those cooking stations up at the same time. As you can see, I put 3 on there. You could probably fit 4 if you really, really wanted to, but 3 is going to cook 6 items at a time. Now, if you are going to build your fireplace inside, your fire pit inside, you definitely need to make a chimney. It's super easy. You can see how I'm doing it on the screen right now, but you want a chimney in order to dispense of that smoke. If you don't have a chimney and you put a roof on this building, what's going to end up happening is your building's going to be full of smoke. Now, while that doesn't necessarily have any negative effects to your in-game character, it can have negative effects to your gameplay experience because it's going to be very hard to see inside your building. And there's nothing that says that it has to be inside. I know a lot of people were placing their beds and it said it had to be near a fire, and so they moved their cooking station inside and ended up getting smoked out. However, what you can actually do is just place your bed on the outer wall inside your base, and then place a fire on that same outer wall outside of your base, and that's going to give you the requirement needed for sleeping. And sleeping in comfort is actually very important in Valheim. It actually boosts your character's abilities if you are rested or you have a high comfort level. It'll give you a nice boost in your stats for playing the game. And here you can see it's really easy. Just go around and repair the old bases. You can additionally repair your own base if it gets damaged during an invasion that does happen in Valheim. I don't want to give anything away, but there are times where you'll be invaded by enemies. Now, I highly recommend spending some time leveling up sneaking and also getting the knife that I have in my hand right now, because not only does it do really good damage, quick attacks, but in addition, you actually have that really cool jump attack. And I'll show you that again here real quick. because this jump attack is absolutely amazing. So there you can see a boar. I'm sneaking. I just need to let my stamina get up enough, and boom, we've one-shotted the boar. Now this is something that you can do from the beginning of the game. It one-shots almost everything. The hardest part is going to be figuring out how far you actually jump and getting a gauge for that, but then you just press the middle mouse button and you go for that jump attack. Now, I don't necessarily suggest this when you're in a combat situation, especially with things that run side to side. As you can see, when I'm jumping, he's actually moving out of the way. So it creates an issue where I'm just losing stamina and not getting any benefit or return from it. So I definitely say it's something that you're going to need to play with and see if it works out for you, but it can be pretty difficult in a combat situation. Let's talk about the damage numbers that are displayed on your screen real quick. So there's a couple of different types of damage that happen in the game. As you can see, as I use my knife on this rock, the damage numbers that are popping up, the zeros that are popping up, are actually gray. If I go over to, say, this stump and I use my axe, you can see those numbers are clearly white. Now, white numbers mean that you're doing normal damage to something. Gray numbers mean you're doing reduced or no damage to something. And then as you can see, the yellow numbers there, that actually means you're doing the best damage you can to it. It means that that is actually vulnerable to your weapon or tool. And that's going to be helpful as you interact or encounter different enemies. You'll be able to know whether your weapon is doing sufficient damage or not. The other numbers that you'll see are going to be green numbers, which are going to be healing. That can be both for you and enemies, because some enemies do actually heal. And then the other number that you'll see is red numbers. Now, red numbers are damage that is being dealt to your character. Another really important tip that I want to give you guys is to start leveling your bows. So get your archery skill up. And there's a lot of drop when you start leveling your archery skill. And that drop starts to go down as you level it. You don't have as much of an arrow drop as you start leveling up your bows. Additionally, while you're leveling up your bows, I would say just kill everything that's kind of in the meadows area with your bow, right? The hardest thing is going to be the graylings that are in the area and the boars, the things that actually attack you back. But as you are leveling up your bows, if you see these birds around, go ahead and shoot them, because they actually will drop feathers. You can see I just got 3 feathers from that single bird, and feathers are required as a resource in some of the better arrows. And the only other way that I've found to get the feathers is to actually go and do some of the dungeons and find them in the loot chests there. So I highly recommend to level up your archery. That way you are a bit better at it. And then definitely shoot all those birds when you see them. The last thing that I'm going to cover real quick here, guys, is the raft and the raft control. So you can push your raft off the shore like I'm doing now. However, don't get it too far out, because you actually can't get on it once it's too far out in the water. So as you can see, there's no way to actually climb that little ladder in the back, and you can't jump out of the water, which leaves you having to jump from shore in order to get to it. So don't let your boat get too far out there. You can die from swimming. If you run out of stamina, you will die from swimming. The other thing is, in order to make your boat go forward, you actually have to press the W key, and you can press that up to 3 times, and that'll give you full speed. If you press it twice, that's going to give you half speed, and then if you only press it once, it's actually only going to give you the rudder speed, which is really slow. On the right hand side, you can see the direction of the wind. That's going to tell you which way you can catch the wind the best, and the wind does not always blow in your favor. So sometimes it's better not to get on your boat and to do something else in the meantime. So keep that in mind. Look at the wind direction. Also, the little arrow in the bottom left-hand corner of your mini-map shows you the direction that the wind is blowing. So if you look at the bottom left-hand corner of your mini-map and you say, well, the wind's blowing against the direction that I want to go, absolutely don't get on your boat. Pick something else to do for the day. The rudder can also be used in reverse, so if you need to back up your raft, you would just press S until you get a little symbol showing you that you are reversing. And obviously you could steer left to right. You can catch the wind a little bit better that way, depending on how you steer that in. Now, in my opinion, Valheim has been very well received. I want to know in the comments section below, have you picked up the game and are you playing it? And if so, what do you think of the game so far? The whack moments in this video were sponsored by my legendary supporters. If you'd like to become a member, you can click the button below that says join. That'll give you all the details. And if you want to continue the fun, there's 2 videos on the screen. You can pick one of those to watch next. Please don't forget to whack the like button. And if you're new to the channel, I'd encourage you to click that subscribe button, click that bell so you get notified when I upload another video.